Thank you, Mr. Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to Secretary Lew for appearing again today. I have 4 sets of questions that I'm going to run through quickly, and then you can answer at the end or answer supplementally. First, that has to do with, as a CPA, I always look at the underpinnings of a budget, how it's constructed, because the choice of the underpinnings or the assumptions can drive the outcome substantially. And in particular, I noticed that the President used estimates related to GDP growth, unemployment, inflation, and interest rates that were generally more optimistic than either the CBO or the blue chip forecast. So I'd like to have the information about 2 things. What would happen or why did we use these more optimistic rates, number 1? Number 2, what would happen if we reset these rates to the assumptions that the CBO is using? Secondly, I think that you and the President and we in the House of Representatives all agree on one thing, and with respect to moving this country forward, and that is we need to grow the economic pie. We need to grow opportunity for everybody. And so the questions on that subject are kind of like this. How do we grow the economic pie and opportunity when we're raising taxes on the economy? The President is proposing to raise taxes to a level as a percent of GDP that were higher than even during the Clinton administration. So how do we think that's going to generate more jobs and more economic growth? The second part of this question is this. If you raise taxes on business, how do you expect that business to invest more in R&D and hiring people and property, plant, and equipment? How do we expect those businesses to produce more and better products and services at lower cost? Those are things we need to think about. In particular, I think about the woman in Bryan, Texas, who owns a chain of dry cleaning and laundry shops. And right now, she is just locked down. She just got her taxes filed last week. Now she's locked down. She's got 19,000 pages of regulations related to Obamacare that are crushing her. And she's not hiring today because of that. And so my question is this, on top of that, how is she going to be better off and able to hire more employees and pay them a better wage and invest in new locations when the President's proposing to raise taxes on her? Another example is the President has this attack on oil and gas companies, which already pay the highest effective tax rate in the country at 41% versus what most companies pay at 26%. So how does this encourage more investment in natural gas, which has done more than any government policy to clean our air? Our emissions today are lower than the Kyoto Protocol, and it's because of the investment in natural gas. And so now the President says we want to raise taxes on this industry so we can get less investment in natural gas and therefore a dirtier environment, theoretically. The third thing and I think that I would assume that you believe and the President believes and we in the House believe that we need a more accountable and a more efficient government. So I'd bring up a slide to remind us about the way this government seems to operate. This picture of Jeff Neely sitting in a hot tub. As we may remember, Jeff Neely was a GSA employee who wasted millions of taxpayer dollars on conferences. This person's back on the payroll. He makes just under $200,000 a year. He got a bonus during his last year. So I haven't seen anything in the President's budget that creates a smaller, more accountable, more efficient government. We've got a GAO report here that identifies tens of billions of dollars in waste and overlap and duplication. I didn't see any attempt in the President's budget to take care of that. Another area is, as part of the stimulus, the Department of Energy had a slush fund that used to invest in things like Solyndra and Fisker, and in light of the stellar results of those organizations or those investments, I'd like to have an answer as to why are we doubling down on more stimulus types of payments? Why do we think that that's going to somehow work better this time than it did the last time? The next area has to do with what I'm going to call trying to help people come out of poverty. Since the war on poverty was started, we've spent $19 trillion, but we've got more people in poverty than ever before. Under our current economic policies, we've also got more people on food stamps than ever before. Why didn't the President propose a plan to scrap current welfare and poverty programs and start with something new so we can focus on creating paychecks for these folks and give them a hand up instead of keeping them locked down where they are today? So why don't we stop the White House parties? Why don't we stop, for every hour that we keep Air Force One unused, we can pay for 18 days to keep the White House open for visitors. Why are we taking so many presidential vacations? I have run out of time. I have a rhetorical question. How can we call the president's budget using a balanced approach when the budget never balances? Thank you. I yield back.
And I'll give the gentleman the ability to respond in writing. Mr. Cicilline.